Bear down, Chicago Bears. It's me, Bleeves, and guess who I've got?
Maddie.
And we're here to talk about what is going on with this crazy, crazy world called the Chicago Bears. And Maddie, first up, foremost, how have you been?
Bored.
Bored?
Yeah, with no Bears to look forward to, it's just so boring. Now it's all talk. So,
Yeah. Well, talk of the town right now is this guy right here, Matt Eberflus, returning for another season. And Ryan Poles returning as well. Matt Eberflus got rid of, I want to say, Cliff Stein from the front office, and that was the guy that's been negotiating contracts for the last 20 years. How do you feel about everything that's happening in the front office so far?
I feel like we predicted this situation happening. We talked about it a lot. Like Luke Getzey was going to get fired, and Matt Eberflus was going to stay, and a lot of people are very mad, like very mad, and I feel rightfully so. But I mean, it's the Bears. Like, let's be honest. What did we expect?
So Ryan Poles alluded to, and they had a pretty long press conference. I think about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And I don't know who that witch was that was disrespectful of Matt Eberflus, but she asked one of those baited questions about that. And I think Ryan Poles really kind of settled into continuity seems to be the order of the day here. And we like we like the thought of having Jim Harbaugh. We like the
Yeah.
thought of new coaches. We like the thought of all these things, but they come with detractions in some way. Uh, Rome is never built in a day,
Yeah.
so I think with continuity came Matt Eberflus getting that next shot. But let's take a moment here and do you think the Bears can build a successful coaching staff? And I want to preface this with Alan Williams was fired or quit. We still don't even
We
know.
don't even know.
Right. Running back coach was gone at the same time. Luke Getzey is now gone. What is it about Matt Eberflus and his hiring that has been a problem? And can he overcome the hiring flubs that he's had so far to really allow this team the chance to grow and become something better? What do you think?
I hope to see Ryan Poles maybe have more of a say in the hiring process this upcoming season. It's really unfortunate that this whole coaching system was just not successful this year. But I do think there's one little positive we have to keep looking at. They over like doubled what their wins were from the previous season, and I think the three losses are a lot to blame on coaches, but he did do his job, and it was a rebuild. They tore it down and they rebuilt it. Last year's roster was a mess, and so I don't know. I mean, we talked about this earlier. It was going to be this upcoming season is going to be his year. If you can't get us to the playoffs, you're gone. I hope that Ryan Poles, because I trust him, I hope he steps in for this. I mean, the offensive coordinator is going to be a huge position for us.
I would think so too. And with that being the case, we turn our attention to this guy right here, the magic man himself, Justin Fields. And we have a controversy that has kind of sprung up here, and that is between Caleb Williams, who uh, has declared for the 2024 NFL draft and is considered likely the number one overall pick,
Yeah.
and staying with Justin. One of the comments that I had in one of the recent videos that we made here is that 80% of the fans want to see Justin Fields return. 20% want to see Caleb Williams, but that 20% speaks pretty loud a lot of times. So
Yeah.
what do we think Ryan Poles wants to do? With this preface, is there a revolt from the team if they don't get their quarterback? And do you with all of these things, with 80% in favor of Justin Fields returning, with the team basically endorsing Justin Fields, with Caleb Williams being a Heisman Trophy winner with tremendous potential upside. What do you think, in your estimation, Ryan Poles would do in this spot?
You know, what I think he is going to do, and especially after the Green Bay game, I really do think he's going to draft a quarterback. I'm not saying I want that. I truly don't even know what I want. All I know is I want a Super Bowl. So like whatever that leads to. But I just have this weird feeling that he's going to draft a QB, especially depending. I think it's very dependent on the return that Justin Fields is going to get.
All right,
What do you
which
think?
leads us to something important. Pittsburgh. Uh, it looks like, and here's the very crazy part to this. Pittsburgh fans are overly excited about the prospect of Justin Fields, and not to be outdone, there's rumors of the New York Giants entering the fray and perhaps doing a sign and trade deal. Justin Fields, Saquon Barkley, giving the Chicago Bears another running back. I'm not a big fan of this move, but the enthusiasm and the idea behind this is, um, why is everybody super excited about picking up Justin Fields when the Bears are not excited about keeping him, or don't appear to be excited about keeping him, looking instead forward to Caleb Williams? What do you make of all of that?
I saw this other one. I saw this other girl. She tweeted something about how Atlanta was up in talks too, and I tweeted about it today. I try to avoid it all because it really is just like none of us know what's really going to happen. But everyone's like, oh, well, why are we so quick to get rid of Justin Fields? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't think that's the theory behind it. I think it's the truth is like building the team, and a lot of arguments are look at the QBs in the playoffs right now. I mean, they are elite of elite, and their roster is pretty solid, I would say. But a lot of the time, it's coming down to the quarterback, and I think it's going to be now Ryan Poles asking himself, well, if we were to put Justin Fields in that position, I don't know if you watched last night, Josh Allen play.
Yep.
I mean, he is everything you want in a quarterback, truly. Like, he can make the quick reads, he can make the great passes, he can run the ball. Oh my God, he had this rushing touchdown. And I was like, I think Justin Fields can do that, but can he do it enough to win a Super Bowl? I just don't know. There's not really enough evidence to argue that he can. And with all these rumors about trading and stuff like that, Ryan Poles has to ask himself, okay, well, I could get a QB at 1. I can get something pretty good at 9. And depending on what you can get out of these returns, you are gonna have a pretty you're gonna win a lot out of this draft. It also comes down to money too. So
Well, I think we talked about the build the defense
yeah,
and plug and play a quarterback out of the draft not too long ago. And in the division second round, we've got Green Bay going against San Francisco, both doing exactly that. We have
literally,
Tampa. We
you
have
literally,
Tampa Bay and Detroit that are not doing that. But we just re-signed. But Jared Goff just signed to his longer
yeah,
contract, and Baker Mayfield, same thing. Just he's been kind of a journeyman, maybe finding his place in Tampa Bay. It's a little
true.
early to tell, but maybe. Then you have Houston, C.J. Stroud. Nobody saw that coming.
No,
And you have Lamar Jackson, highest paid quarterback, I think, in the NFL until Mahomes signed his contract.
yeah,
So, and that's the Chiefs, and Josh Allen is no longer on a rookie contract. So, about it looks to me like you can win as long as you have good quarterback play, or if you build around it and you just plug and play, a decent quarterback. And look, Jordan Love is checking all the boxes, making all the plays. Brock Purdy checking all the boxes, making all the plays. CJ Stroud so far. But that doesn't mean out of these three that have made this playoff, I don't think we call that a cheat code. I think it's a great strategy, but is there anything to that? Because if I scroll back here and I take a longer look out, the Buffalo Bills beat Pittsburgh, who were just journeyman quarterbacking.
yeah.
The Dolphins are Tua Tagovailoa, and he's not that. Cleveland Browns had Deshaun Watson and again journeyman. Jalen Hurts, no. Los Angeles Rams, no. Dallas Cowboys, no. So is this really the cheat code that people think, or is it just it's a good strategy, but it's not like really. And by the way, if you go back here and you look at some of these, I think that you might find that each one of these in their own special way has an offensive coordinator who adapts to their game plan
Yeah.
and makes good calls to negate a defense. And I think that the Bears have grossly suffered from that, to the fault, by the way, of Justin Fields. But I think that, and it makes him look bad that we don't have an offensive coordinator who makes situational adjustments, who doesn't
Yeah.
play to win in the fourth quarter, who plays for the tie, who loves to run the ball. We just went through an entire game where he made 6 of 6 in his first 6 passes in the first 2 drives in the first quarter, and then for 3 other quarters only threw the ball 10 more times.
That's actually nuts.
That's an absolute
That's nuts.
testimonial to the problem at the offensive coordinator position. So I don't know if we can make an assertion, but the fact that 3 of 8 have a legitimate defense and have legitimate skill players and just plugged in a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback does say something that it has the potential.
Yeah.
But Mahomes is kind of, I think he was on kind of his own level.
Yeah.
I think he came in a little bit maybe underhyped for what he put out. But nonetheless, what do you think? What do you think the Bears? What do you think of all of this? Do you think that cheat code exists, or do you think that maybe this is just it's a decent strategy, but it's not the one that wins the big games. I mean, what rookie other than Patrick Mahomes won the big game?
Yeah. I don't know. My eyes always go to like Jordan Love and like what he's doing right now. But my argument to that and the CJ Stroud thing, I'll come back to that. But the argument to Jordan Love, I think, is he's a part of a team that their culture is all about winning and developing a quarterback, and they're young. Like they're going to be scary good. And it's not even like it took them time throughout the season to really build this. And
Mhm.
it's not like they built this like I don't know too much, but their defense, like they're still very young overall. They haven't put these like veterans together, I would say. CJ Stroud, I don't know much. I mean, I look at the Texans roster and it's like not super flashy, same thing with the Packers. And to see what he's done, I mean, it's incredible. I just 3 out of 8, yeah, but out of the whole league, are quarterbacks able to do that? I just think you need to have like that quarterback position. They don't win games all the time, but they have to be excellent a lot of the time.
Well, here's the funny thing, which is the Houston Texans brought in Bobby Slowick as their offensive coordinator, who was the guy for San Francisco for a lot of years.
Okay.
So this guy's been familiar with a successful team, and by the way, he was helping to make a successful team as they were becoming something better, which they are this year.
Yeah.
But San Francisco's been a decent team for a few years. They brought in Bobby Slowick. This is his first year. He was in tune with CJ Stroud, which, by the way, I will point out statistically, if you look at Ohio State, CJ Stroud was nowhere near the quarterback that Justin Fields was
Yeah.
in the same system. So he was good, but he wasn't lighting it on fire. So it is entirely possible that they developed a great system around him, played to his strengths, and he made the plays that he needed to play. And with that level of confidence going on early, it's entirely possible Justin Fields would have done or could have done the same thing. And I don't mean to make excuses for Justin Fields, by the way. I don't think that I need to or that we really should, but it should be noted that Justin Fields has not had the benefit of any of the insight and wisdom. In
Yeah.
fact, let me just also state that the coach when Justin Fields came in was Matt Nagy. Matt
Yeah.
Nagy is the current offensive coordinator at Kansas City. Kansas City is underachieving grossly compared to what they've done in previous years this year. Like there's if you follow the breadcrumbs around the NFL, you kind of see, and by the way, a lot of people do see this. A lot of people comment on it, and their response on the back end to it is, well, yeah, I mean, just Justin Fields has been burned here in Chicago. Maybe
Yeah.
it's time to just move on and give him a chance to grow in a system that wants and needs him, and not in a system that's misused him and make him learn again.
Yeah.
Um, which was asked, by the way, of Matt Eberflus in the press conference, and Matt Eberflus said, look, Justin Fields getting a third offensive coordinator in 3 years is not a big deal. Justin's a very smart kid who learns very, very fast. He will adapt that offense as quickly as we can feed it to him. He's that type of guy. So we're not concerned with a new offensive coordinator. It does take a year to really kind of master it. But you know what? If you get the guy in now, if you start working on it as soon as you get on the field and you put in what he can do, then, you know, the team evolves
Yeah.
as he learns these new things and these new plays, and as he becomes better at executing this offense, you know, maybe, just maybe, they can build around it. So, by the way, I am telling you that this is a Super Bowl team next year. I know I
Okay.
told you that a year ago,
Yeah, I do. You did say, yeah. So
but now I'm telling you that this
predictions.
is really a Super Bowl.
I wish I could bet money on it, like on an app. Make an app section where it's like Bleeves predictions and bet, because I would put a lot of money down.
Stake.com, there's sponsorship money. Jaylon Johnson, the shutdown cornerback of the NFL, is out here wanting a big time contract. Do you think Ryan Poles gives him the big time contract? And do you think that he continues to perform at the level that we become accustomed to? And do you think he becomes the best cornerback in the NFL?
You know, I'm not gonna lie. People can look up the videos. I was skeptical on him. In the first 3 games, I was like, this guy wants all that money, and I can't. He ain't showing up. But what he's done in the second half of the season is crazy. And you know, he was snubbed of the first team All Pro, but that's just because it's the Bears. Let's be honest. We're never gonna get fully the credit. No player is until we win. But I think Ryan Poole is going to pull the trigger and pay him for sure.
All
I
right.
mean,
So,
look at the Packers game. Our defense was awful overall, but that secondary was so bad. It was so bad. And I think it just showed how valuable he is on the field.
let me push back slightly.
Okay.
The Chicago Bears gave up 17 points to the Green Bay Packers team
Okay, fine.
that just scored 48 points on the best defense in the NFL in
Okay,
the
so
Dallas
basically,
Cowboys.
we're the
So
best.
and look, you know, a lot of this is situational.
Yeah.
It's situational. So Green Bay didn't have to score 48 in order to win. They really had to score 33 points to win over there. They only had to score 10 points over here to win. We didn't give much of a shot, so they didn't need to quote unquote run it up. But I don't think they could have run it up anyway. I think they had their foot on the gas, and the Bears were coming up as a pretty stout defensive team. And I think they played a really good game. And our offense just didn't deliver. And had that happen, we'd be looking at a different outcome. In
True.
fact, if we had won just the 5 close games this year, if we'd won 3 of those games, we'd be in the playoffs right now. Green Bay would not. So
Yeah, and
that's how
we
close this
were
is.
for sure beating those Cowboys. Oh my God.
All right. Well, finally, so there's been 5 offensive coordinators that have been interviewed so far. Most recent was Greg Roman. Greg Roman was the offensive coordinator for what many people know as the greatest football player of all time, a man that usually wears a Superman cape to everything that he does. NFL MVP Lamar Jackson.
You love that guy.
I
Hey,
really do. I
he,
really do.
so
Uh, he posted a 13.2 record under Greg Roman with a 66% completion through 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and ran for 1,200 yards in that season. And
wow.
Greg Roman was the guy. Um, he resigned his post after the Ravens lost the wild card round game earlier this year, skipping the 2023 season. So he was interviewed. Then you had Shane Waldron, and he's been the OC that's made Geno Smith in Seattle look like the comeback player of the year last year, and looking pretty stellar this year. About
Yeah,
middle of the pack offensively, but still a decent team. Then you have Clint Kubiak, who's the passing game coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. He interviewed and you know, he took over the passing game coordinator this season after Bobby Slowick left to become the Houston offensive coordinator. So now he's being interviewed for the offensive coordinator. Then you have Greg Olson, who was the quarterbacks coach in Seattle, but he was also the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, the Rams, the Buccaneers,
I
the
saw that.
Raiders, Jacksonville, and the Raiders again from 2018 to 2021, a stint that saw David Carr do some record setting, well, I guess not record setting, but some really good
Yeah.
performances for the Raiders. And then finally, you have Liam Cohen, who was the offensive coordinator for the University of Kentucky. And he was the one that turned Will Levis, the current starter in Tennessee, into basically a household name, at least in Tennessee, but turned him into a starting quarterback in the NFL and did the same with, I want to say the guy's name this year was Devin Leary. And Devin Leary came on strong, looked like he had a great season as well. Not a great offense, by the way, had not been, but they were really, really good when it mattered. And were able to, in some instances, score at will, which was new for Kentucky. So, what do you think of these guys? Is there the gem here? And if there is, do you think one of these guys would be the guy to go to for either Justin Fields? By the way, you do have to consider Justin Fields or Caleb Williams or even Drake May might be the choice.
I feel like I haven't watched enough on either of those quarterbacks to like be able to judge what they really want to do. And when I see Lamar Jackson, I see little snippets of Justin Fields, but nowhere, no, full respect to Lamar Jackson, not really that close. But like the idea of what he does is similar, I would say. But I just don't have enough knowledge to give a full like judgment. I would just being biased off of what, of course I want the most successful person, I think. But what do you think?
So I think that in this instance, I think here's what I think. If you're going to go with Justin Fields, bring in the guy that made Lamar Jackson. And if you're going to move on, then you bring in somebody like a Shane Waldron he's looking for a quarterback who can make those plays. That's
Yeah.
your Caleb Williams guy. Clint Kubiak, that's your probably your Caleb Williams guy. So Liam Cohen runs a run first defense or run first offense. So that's a Justin Fields guy. And it looks like they're really just kind of reaching out and deciding. And I think until they have a scouting combine, I don't think they're going to really know what they want. They're just going to look for the guy who's the most capable of doing everything that they need and who's available. Because there might be somebody out there. We might look at Clint Kubiak and say he's the best guy, but he might want too much money. He might be in demand. He might,
Yeah.
there might be a situation there that he's not right for it. Shane Waldron, same thing. Is he going to be here, or is he the next up and coming, next head coach? Greg Roman, the same thing. There's a lot of key factors that I think everybody's going to have to go through there to figure out. A lot of times when you hire these guys, they're just a journeyman that might be here for a short
Yeah.
spell and then move on. So I think that I would really like to see Greg Roman because I loved what happened with Lamar Jackson. He turned him into an MVP. He understood the concept. Here's the important part. Greg Roman understood the concept of what Lamar Jackson can do,
Yeah.
and he tailored the entirety of the game plan around his strengths. He gave Lamar 1,200 rushing yards, 3,000 yards passing. He made him look like a superstar. He turned him into an NFL MVP very early on in his career. As a matter of fact, the NFL has been redesigned massively in the last couple of years because of the way Lamar Jackson plays. We're getting more athletic at the quarterback position. We're getting more able to run the ball at the quarterback
Yeah.
position. So things have changed because of Lamar Jackson in the NFL, and the guy behind that was Greg Roman. So I would love to see Greg Roman come along and pick up where he left off with Lamar Jackson, only do it with Justin Fields, because I feel like Justin Fields is every bit the runner that Lamar Jackson is. I do not think hear me now, Justin, if you ever watch this, I do not think that Justin Fields is near the runner with the elusiveness that Lamar Jackson has. But I think that overall, Justin Fields is every bit the runner that Lamar Jackson is.
Okay, so do you think who they determine is the new OC determines if they draft a quarterback or not? You think they're gonna
No,
hire?
no,
Okay.
no. I think the decision for the offensive coordinator is going to be made based on the likelihood of keeping Justin Fields and their ability to adapt their offense to the passing game. So it'll be interesting what we see. But here's the thing: Justin Fields averaged 64% this year. In the last 17 games that he's actually played, almost 3,000 yards passing, almost 1,200 yards rushing. This guy's been a beast.
Yeah.
He's had some fumbles. You work on fumbles. That's what your quarterback coach is for. You work on fumbles. Hopefully, bring in Chase Daniels as your quarterback coach or Ken Dorsey as your quarterback coach, and you work on the fumbles. You work on you work on the fact that he throws some interceptions every once in a while. Work on those things. Clear those. Clean that up. Basically, clean that up. And then Justin Fields probably is a superstar. That's what
Yeah.
I think. So that's my opinion. What about you?
I don't think who they hire is like going to determine like what they do at the draft, Um I don't know. I have this weird feeling Ryan Poles is going to draft a QB. So I just feel very weird in that situation.
We won't know until
I
we know.
know.
You know.
Can we know now?
So we'll be tracking this every day. We'll be looking at this all of the time.
Yeah.
So when we have a clear indication, then we'll be able to figure it out for the most part as we get closer. I think it's going to be rumors will come out as soon as we get to a combine, or as soon as we get to Caleb Williams going through his steps with the Bears.
Yeah.
Once he gets an opportunity to put on a display, then we'll get an idea of what they think. And I think they have to be wowed. I think they've even said that we're comfortable
Yeah.
with Justin. We have to be wowed to make a move away from that. So I think it's Justin's. I think it's Justin's job, but it's Caleb's to lose, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Well, so that's what we'll run with for right now. I think we've covered every topic. You got anything else you want to say?
No, I'm good.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, my name's Bleeves.
I'm Maddie.
Bear down, Chicago Bears.